evening, everyone.
Good evening, madam.
Call the meeting to order. Before we start with our regular agenda, I'd also like to take a few moments to, on behalf of council, city staff, and the community, to extend our sincere condolences to our colleague and friend Keith Poik and his partner Heidi Barnes on the passing of their son Liam Poik. Our thoughts are with Keith, Heidi, and their family and their loved ones during this very difficult time. We wish them strength and comfort in the days ahead. Thank you. Okay, land acknowledgements. Councillor Pritchard.
We acknowledge the land on which we gather is in traditional Mi'kmaq territory, and we acknowledge with respect the diverse histories and cultures of the Beothuk, Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of this province.
Thank you. Okay, approval of the agenda. Councillor Luther, seconder. Councillor Dean. All in favor? Okay, motion carried. Okay, approval of the minutes from the Committee of the Whole. Okay, we got that. Any business arising from those minutes? Anybody any questions, comments, anything you want to question or? Okay, so let's move right along. So our proclamations this month, we had a few. On March the 28th was declared Purple Day for Epilepsy. Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you are not alone. Epilepsy is a chronic neurological disorder which affects each person differently and is estimated to affect more than 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador. And then in April was declared Parkinson's Awareness Month. Over 1,500 families in Newfoundland and Labrador live with Parkinson's disease. The Parkinson's Society of Newfoundland and Labrador are the provincial voice for the people living with Parkinson's through research, education, advocacy, and support services. So they're the two that we had for that month. And thanks to everybody who made an effort to come and join us for the signings. Okay. Tenders. Councillor Deputy Mayor Keeping, you're up on the Employment Engagement Survey.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The City of Corner Brook recognizes that engaged and satisfied employees contribute to higher productivity, improved retention, and innovation, all of which lead to a stronger and more efficient workforce. As part of the City Manager's plan, regular employee engagement surveys will be conducted to assess key workplace aspects, including work, culture, leadership, professional development, work environment, general wellness, and internal communication and safety. The Employee Engagement Survey RFP was issued and sent out to 3 potential bidders on February 20th. However, only one bidder responded. The proposal is attached. At the Committee of the Whole meeting on March 23rd, 2026, a motion was brought forward for a council decision on approval of a proposal and subsequently was postponed. The motion now coming forward again, however, the price is now revised from $25,716 plus HST to $24,596 plus HST. It is resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook accept a proposal from Talent Map for the Employee Engagement Survey at a cost of $24,596 plus HST. I so move.
Seconder? Councillor Dean? Okay, discussion, comments, questions? Councillor Pritchard, you're on.
Start the discussion, Madam Mayor. First of all, I really want to thank the City Manager for taking this on. I think employee engagement and satisfaction is something we should all be concerned about. My biggest question here is whether or not we can do this cheaper than the $25,000 price tag. I don't want to put a price on employee, engagement and satisfaction. But when I think about, things like AI and other digital platforms that are available to us, I'm really questioning whether or not we can't perform this in-house for a much cheaper cost.
Yeah. City Manager?
Through you, Madam Mayor. I understand the question, and it's a smart question to ask. Can we do it cheaper? I always ask that as well. In this case, I don't feel that staff has the skill set to do such a study internally or the capacity. I feel that we're a very lean organization, and I feel that this would just sit on the corner of somebody's desk and perhaps not get done. So that's part of it. The other part of it is in discussions with the proponent, my previous advisors, they all felt that it was necessary to have it done externally so we get better results. Certainly, if I was asked about, when I was not in this role, I probably wouldn't give as an honest an answer as I would to some of these questions, knowing it was being done internally. So most of the places I talked to and researched said that at least the very first one needs to be done externally. So that's kind of where our head is. It's both the capacity, the skill set, and the reliability of the information we would receive if we did it internally.
Thank you. Councilor Luther?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to build on that, what you were saying about the not having the capacity to do it. My concern, and Mina and I, like as Councilor Pritchard said, like employee satisfaction is number one. I mean, if you don't have a satisfied employee, like your business is going to go downhill fast. But I guess my concern is I also feel that this could be done internally, but in terms of the follow-up, because in reading the presentation that we had from the company, they talk about the survey is one piece, but it's the follow-up and, acting on some of the concerns and everything that are brought forward by the staff. So do we have the capacity to fulfill that part of it? Because there's no point in doing a survey if you're not going to follow up on the discussion and the concerns that are brought forward.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I could not agree more. If you do a study and it sits on your shelf and collects dust, it's useless and it's a waste of money. So I couldn't agree more there. I think the answer to the question is absolutely. We need a roadmap to do the things that we need to do to have engaged, healthy, efficient, and motivated staff. And I am not the type of person that does a study just to do a study. We will take this study, we will act on the recommendations in it, and make it a priority. Now, that said, a concern about capacity, I think acting on the recommendations in such a report is one thing. Performing the study, collecting the data, analyzing the data, I think that's a different story. I think the senior management team is committed to this study and will most certainly act on the recommendations within such a study and report.
Thank you.
Deputy?
I'd just like to say, Madam Mayor, that I certainly do agree with this survey. It doesn't just highlight the problems, it helps us plan and also gives us a clear picture of where changes can be made, et cetera, with management and staff. So I certainly do agree with the survey.
Thank you. Councilor Wheeler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with a survey as well. I agree that staff satisfaction is very important. I agree we need to identify what's going on. The survey itself is the upfront work. Personally, I think a price tag of $25,000 is outrageous, but I think a box of rice at $15 is outrageous at the grocery store too. So maybe that's just my perception. But all of the work related to this is the after piece of the survey. So to pay $25,000 up front just to gather the information and analyze the information. And I'm sure that this company is quite inept at doing it. I'm sure they've done it for a lot of other people before, but I'm not sure a city of our size, I certainly don't feel comfortable paying $25,000 for this. I would like us to explore cheaper options, if we can't do it in-house, to find some other way to do it. Because again, this piece is just the beginning part of it. So to pay that chunk of change, if they were going to follow up and do things for us and help us get together and help us, follow through with some of the recommendations, but this is basically going to be gathering of information and providing a list of recommendations. All the work for this comes afterwards, so for myself, I feel like $25,000 is a huge price tag, probably $20,000 too much. But again, maybe this is the going rate for this type of work, and I'm not really in touch with it too much. I have been a part of numerous surveys over the years, and if follow-up is not done, then it's a waste of money. We've also here at the City of Corner Brook in the past engaged consultants and paid quite a bit of money for results and recommendations to sit on the shelf. And while I don't question the city manager's motivation, and he certainly, I think he's very motivated and very engaged in this and doing it for all the right reasons, I personally don't like the price tag attached. So if we had something cheaper or some other options to look at, I'd be willing to look at other options. I do think the survey is important, but not at this price tag for me personally.
Thank you. Anybody else? Councilor Pritchard.
I'll just add on, I guess, the comments. I really appreciate the comments and the discussion. And again, I really want to, acknowledge the city manager's desire to get this information. It's really, really important. I would even like to see us attempt something internally, and if what we did internally determined we had to take the step of employing an external agency, that might be a way to go. I can understand the concerns about maybe people won't be as honest, or maybe people won't be forthcoming, but I still think we can do something internally to see what is actually produced, and from there make decisions around next steps. Again, commend the thought. I think the vision is right on there. It's the price tag that concerns me.
Okay.
Just a quick question. Has there been an employee satisfaction survey done in the last, say, 15 years?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
I've only been here for 9.
Yeah.
I don't believe there has been for quite some time, but I can't answer that.
Unlike Councillor Wheeler, I've been involved in a lot of these over the years, and you find that if people are disgruntled, wherever the survey comes from, they're going to be honest and open about it. And I like what Councillor Pritchard said, like attempt something internally, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of tools out there that, to me, this is a human resource, department problem, or not problem, but, a concern, an issue that they maybe take a stab at it and go from there.
Okay.
Just one more comment.
Yep.
It's unfortunate that some people have had bad experiences with this type of survey. My previous employer did one of these surveys, and they followed up on it. They really, it was external. We didn't really know what we were answering for questions, but we knew it was anonymous, and we weren't going to hide the truth, I guess. And it was very successful. They had a plan. I wasn't at that level way back then, but I saw it implemented. I saw the results of it, and it really did change the culture at the city that I used to work. So unfortunately, I understand there's been some not so positive results, but I think this team is committed to it, and I have seen it work very well.
Quick question now, City Manager. Who would do the survey if we were to look at it internally? Because we're doing, the survey would be for all staff.
That's correct.
Am I correct?
Yeah, it would absolutely be for all
So
staff.
how would we pick a staff member to do a survey that involves all their colleagues? I'm just throwing that out as a,
I really haven't thought about
No.
doing it internally, because I was hoping this was going to go positively. We'd have to put some thought into that to see how we could possibly do something like
And who would be responsible for implementing the recommendation from the survey?
That would be me.
Be
I would
you?
take- Absolutely,
Okay.
I would take full responsibility for this.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, no more comments, questions?
Madam Mayor, I'm sitting here tortured because I absolutely agree that we all look at dollars and cents in a very responsible, respectful way, because we know taxpayers struggle with money issues, financial issues, it's hard times, and $25,000 is hard to come by. But equally, I admire and respect the people who work in the city and how hard they work around the clock, 7 days, 365 days of the year, and that it's not always easy to be able to communicate those kinds of things. I'm just wondering, are there any other companies in an easy range who could do a survey at less money, at less cost, but external to the city itself?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we did this in a way to kind of hopefully find those other companies. Only one responded. I don't know if it was because of the size of it. I'm not sure why they didn't respond. I didn't hear back from other companies, but we only heard from one, so.
Madam Mayor, I'm just wondering, could we have a pause of 6 to 8 weeks to further investigate if there are other companies available who could do the work of similar quality at a less cost?
Again, there are other companies that do this, and we did reach out to them. We sent them this RFP directly, but nobody responded, so I don't know what the reason for was.
And we only had one response, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a big problem for me, because if you look at the number of staff working at the city, and if you look at the cost of everything, you know, you're not going to get, I mean, $25,000 sounds like a lot of money. But we all know around this table, $25,000 doesn't buy a lot anymore. It really doesn't. So I'm a bit torn. I think it's a necessary thing to do. However we decide to do it, it's a necessary thing to do.
I don't disagree with Mayor or Councillor Dean whatsoever. I think I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. I use Google Forms on a daily basis. I use AI to analyze Google Form on a daily basis. It costs me zero, and the thoroughness of the results I get is exceptional. I think it's a wise first step to do this with those freely available tools, and then explore any potential next steps if we feel there's a need for follow-up. So, $25,000 in the big scheme, like we have a $43 million budget, I think, but I do think there are things we can do right now for next to nothing, and I mean that when I say next to nothing.
Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say I agree wholeheartedly with Councillor Pritchard. You know, in these times, there's a lot of tools at our fingertips that we can look at using ourselves. Yes, you know, staff engagement, staff satisfaction is very important. I think as we look at this, we also have to look internally at ourselves today as well. And if we are aware of issues, or if city staff are vocal that they want something or need something or they're lacking in something, then I really think we need to be actually listening to that as well directly. So if staff are able to say, you know, we would really feel better if we were able to do something. I don't know, an example, hockey. If we could have some ice time to play hockey, and that people would feel better about it, and you know, it may help morale, those sorts of things. If those are things that we do hear directly from staff and we discredit or disregard those things, then, you know, we really need to look at the things that people are actually telling us and be able to try and move forward with that if possible. If not, then it doesn't matter the results of the survey, because if they're going to go into the survey and say the same thing and we say, we're sorry, we can't look at that or can't do that, then, you know, we're $25,000 later, but are we really ahead? So we really, really have to, if we do go ahead with this, I would really hope and anticipate, I guess, that as the city manager has stated, that we're going to take the results very, very seriously, and that we're going to put things in place to actually go, move forward with those recommendations. As some of them are not going to be nice, and some of them are going to be challenging, and we're going to hear things that people don't necessarily want to hear, and there's going to be recommendations that don't really fit with our current day. So, if we do go ahead and spend this money, then I hope that I can look on the other side of it and say that it was money well spent.
Okay.
As do I.
Yeah. Okay. That it? Okay, I'm going to call for the question. All those in favor of the proposed resolution? So we got 3. So motion defeated. You got the names, did you? Thank you. Okay, we're on to purchase of snow clearing equipment. Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 6 front-end loaders equipped with snowplow attachments were leased from Brandt Tractor Limited in 2021. The lease agreement expires in April 2026. Staff have assessed exercising the buyout option at the end of the lease term. Given the relatively low operational hours on the equipment and the purchase cost compared to current market value, staff recommend exercising the purchase option for the lease agreement. Be it therefore resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook accept the staff's recommendation to accept the buyout of the current leased loaders from Brandt Tractor Limited for $158,700 tax in for each unit, totaling $952,200. I so move.
Seconder on that one? Councillor Pritchard? Questions, comments, discussion? Councillor Kennedy?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So all this equipment, it's all, I guess, newer, as I said there, from 2020 and 21, is that correct?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that's correct.
Should get a few years of them.
This is already budgeted,
Yeah.
right? We already approved this in the budget, we're just bringing it here tonight.
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes. We took an approach in our budget to finance these over 3 years. So what's approved in this year's budget would be adequate funds to cover the first year financing.
Perfect, thank you. Any more question, comments? Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Looks like we got some new equipment. Okay. Purchase snow clearing equipment. Councillor Wheeler, favorite topic.
That's what we just did, Madam Mayor.
Oh, I missed Deep Gulch. What was the reason for that? There's a real good reason why, yeah. Really? Deep Gulch again. Okay, Councillor Pritchard, you got the honor.
Great work done at Deep Gulch, actually. I'll take this gladly. Following is a change order for the Deep Gulch culvert replacement project. Quality changes were required during the construction of the Deep Gulch Brook culvert replacement. This change order is for the final variances on the qualities that were originally tendered. It is resolved that the Council of Corner Brook approve change order number 26 for the Deep Gulch culvert replacement in the amount of $91,486.92, HST included, to JCL Investments, Inc. Be it resolved.
Okay, seconder for this one? Councillor Kennedy. Okay, now we got time for discussion.
Is there a limit on the number of change orders that you can have per project? Oh, my
We've reached our limit.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately not. No.
So this is number 26 now.
Yeah, so this would be at the end of them. So essentially, this change order is all the quantities and this value has been already paid out, but it's essentially similar to the ones we've done in the past. It goes from a contract, when the contract's put out to tender, and then when you finalize the contract, the quantities have to match. So obviously, if you're digging out a certain volume of fill, it's going to be near impossible to match that in the engineering design versus the actual. So it's just addressing that in the housekeeping exercise to ensure that the actual quantities paid out match the contract quantities. So this change order necessitates that.
So it's a little bit of a number game.
Correct. It's all the funds have been paid out already in progress claims. It's just matching the contract documents to the actual quantities paid out.
Thank you.
Councillor Pritchard?
I think like all of the issues we're talking about this evening, there is concern about, taxpayers' money and just seeing it go out the door so freely, so to speak. I know in this case, there's probably not a lot we can do in terms of the change order, but I'm just curious for the, I guess our finance manager, if he can speak to how we prepare for things of this nature that are unintended or unexpected, but we do know they're going to come up, and what this is going to do to our current budget.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that would be more of, I guess, a question for like the engineering when the tender goes out. So there's contingencies built into any capital project plan that you have. I don't know, Mayor, Mr. Director, will speak to that.
Essentially, when you put it out, in our budget each year, we do have our capital reserves that go towards it, but part of the tendering process, we have to tender the actual design, the quantity. So when that comes in, we build a contingency during the design phase, but during tender, it's a quantity-based payout. So it really comes down to the effort that goes in on the engineering side to try to get those quantities close to where you think they're going to be, but there's always situations where you go over and above. So in any project, you want to stay in that. Generally, you'd like to be 10%, 10 to 15% of within the contract quantities, knowing that the engineering matched a lot of what it is. In a situation we're in here, we're at about 12%. So yes, $100,000 on the quantity sounds like a lot, but on a $3 million project with the complexity of this size, I'm not going to say it's good because no one likes to see change orders, but it's expected. So it really comes down to during the budgeting process with our capital reserves and things like that. We budget as best as we can for these projects using the engineering knowledge we have. But when we balance the records in the end of the year, that's when we really make up and see where we are. Some projects, they don't happen so much anymore, but we come under. Some we go over, right? But it's really getting that work done has to get done. And you really try to stay within that 10% range, which thankfully we are. We're about 12% for this one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, I'll call for the questions. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Now, Councillor Wheeler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Purchase new fleet 2026. As part of our annual fleet assessment, staff have identified 4 fleet vehicles in need of replacement. Staff have requested quotes for vehicle replacement through both local dealerships as well as enterprise fleet leasing services. Staff have identified the lowest total purchase cost is available through local vehicle dealerships. It is therefore resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook accept staff's recommendation to accept the bids as follows. Dennis GM for one-ton crew cab at a price of $73,719.60 HST included. Dennis GM for 2 half-ton crew cab trucks, $60,736.10 HST included each. Humber Ford for 1 3/4-ton regular cab, $72,321.20 HST included. I so move.
Seconder?
I'll second that.
Deputy? Comments? Don't think it's cheap, is it? Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to state that it's really nice that we were able to do all of this locally. It's certainly, the prices were lower, And it's nice to, be able to purchase locally off of our own businesses right here in town.
Anything else? I like the fact that when they give us a number, it got the HST included. See, I'm not up here trying to add it all up in my mind, so. And this already came out of our budget. We've already approved this during budget.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor, that's correct. This
Yes.
was proposed in the 2026 budget.
We're just cleaning it up tonight.
That's correct.
Anything else? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And now we got Councillor Dean on the IMSP.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this will be the third and final reading of Council Amendment 2503, apartments in L1 zone. The Planning and Development Department has received a development proposal at 347 O'Connell Drive, the subject property, to establish an apartment attached to shops and other businesses as a secondary use to the existing office building. The subject property is a light industrial LI zone. Residential uses are not permitted in the LI zone, therefore a text amendment is required to accommodate the use. The secondary apartment dwelling is intended to be integrated into an existing or proposed structure in such a way that it is entirely contained within the main building and does not appear as a separate use. The Development Regulation Amendment facilitates an apartment attached to shops and other businesses to be considered in the L1 zone, excluding Watson's Pond Industrial Park, through Council's discretion, and is supported by an amendment to the city's Integrated Municipal Sustainability Plan. The Planning Department supports the inclusion of this use as a discretionary provision to promote intensification within established areas of the municipal services area. This amendment aligns with principles of efficient land use, supports greater housing affordability and diversity, and facilitates increased density within the existing urban fabric. In accordance with Section 17 of the Act, notice of adoption and tentative public hearing date, March 25th, 2026, was posted on the city's website, Facebook page, and screens in both City Hall and the Civic Center. There was also a voyant alert sent out advertising the public hearing. Where no objections were received 2 days before the tentative public hearing date, staff canceled the public hearing in accordance with Section 20 and subsection 21(1) of the Act. This council request is for Section 23 approval of amendment number 25-03. Approval of the proposed amendment is the final affirmative decision of council prior to submitting the documents to the provincial government for ministerial approval and registration. Madam Mayor, be it resolved that the council of the city of Corner Brook, turn the page, Number 1, adopt proposed amendments number 25-03 to the City of Corner Brook Integrated Municipal Sustainability Plan and Development Regulations 2012. Number 2, authorize staff to submit the proposed amendments to the provincial government for ministerial approval and registration. And number 3, authorize staff to give statutory notice of registration of the amendments following ministerial approval and registration under Section 2. The City of Corner Brook resolves as said.
Okay. Seconder? Okay, Councillor Kennedy? Discussion on the IMSB. All these amendments.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Do we have like a timeline for when this goes in for the final approval, like roughly?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we are nearing the final stages. So the hope would be that this process again, so it goes to ministerial approval, then goes to the Gazette. I think I'd be in error to give you a definite timeline just because we haven't seen consistent timelines right now, but hopefully within 2 to 3 months, we'd see some kind of movement on it to get the final. Generally, what we're telling applicants right now for the full process, we're seeing a year or more. But again, thankfully, all these ones coming forward tonight are at the end of the stage. Again, a lot of stuff we want to see done. So this is good news, and hopeful sooner or later it'll be back from the province.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No more discussion? Where is the IMSP now? At what stage, the final, not these amendments, but our final draft? Because I know it was at the government.
Yep, so through you, Madam Mayor, we're in a similar process right now, going through the review. I won't give you an answer here because I don't want to speak incorrectly. I'll get that answer and forward along. I'm not sure, I'm not aware. I believe it's either at the second or third reading, but I'll get that answer and forward to council.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Madam Mayor, I would just add to what he said was that you see how long small amendments take. So a full redo of our municipal plan takes a lot of work to review on the province's part. So I suspect it'll take longer. I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll look into that a little more and provide council with an answer.
And it was a lot of work from everybody,
Oh,
from
yeah.
staff and council,
Yeah.
because we all participated in it. And, you know, we thought it was good and we were so excited, but
It still is good, Madam Mayor.
it still
It's
is
just
good
not part of the
and we
process.
just got to get it approved. Okay, thank you. Okay, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carries. Okay. Councillor Luther, you're going to give us a 3-unit apartment building.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is discretionary use at 7 O'Brien's Lane. The City of Corner Brook received an application to convert the existing single dwelling located at 7 O'Brien's Lane to a 3-unit apartment building. The property is located in a residential medium density zone where an apartment building classification of use is a discretionary use of the City of Corner Brook Development Regulation. A notice was delivered to the residents in the immediate area of 7 O'Brien's Lane indicating the above-mentioned request. As a result of this notice, no submissions were received. To meet parking requirements for the proposed 3-unit building, it is proposed to construct a new driveway as outlined on a previous submitted drawing. It should be noted that a portion of the driveway crosses adjacent property. Also, the current proposal does not meet the side yard requirement. However, the applicant has consulted with the neighbor to obtain a portion of land to consolidate with 7 O'Brien's Lane to achieve this standard. Should this discretionary use be approved and planning's permission granted, no building permits will be issued until such time that land has been obtained to complete the proposed driveway as well as to meet the minimum side yard requirement. Be it resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook approve the application to convert the existing single dwelling located at 7 O'Brien's Lane to a 3-unit apartment building in accordance with Regulation 11, that discretionary powers of authority subject to the applicant obtaining the required land from neighbors for the driveway and to meet the minimum side yard requirement. I so move.
Seconder? Councillor Dean? Questions, comments? It's always good to see a new building go up.
Yep.
Is it? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And Councillor Kennedy, you're on the IMSP too.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Third and final reading of Council Amendment 25-02, Group Rezoning. The principal purpose of proposed municipal plan amendment number 2502 and development regulations amendment number 25-02 is to allow council to adopt the following rezonings. Number 1, 55 Premier Drive. Zoning change from residential medium density, RMD, to general commercial to facilitate the property owner of the funeral home to rebuild a new building and extend the parking lot. Number 2, 23 and 27 Hummer Road. Zoning change from open space to residential commercial mix to facilitate redevelopment of 2 buildings along a collector road. Number 3, Massey Drive, TCH area. Zoning change from rural to light industrial to make the lot legal for non-conforming and provide an opportunity for an owner to build a storage warehouse in the future. It is important to know that this development will require lift station if sanitary sewer is required. Number 4, Bolins Avenue and Berry Place. Zoning change from general industrial to RCM to RMD to facilitate redevelopment of the residential lots and promote residential infill development on the vacant property. And the last one, 649 O'Connell Drive. Zoning change from OS to RMD is just a housekeeping change. Map amendments to both the IMSP and development regulations are required to support these proposed changes. In accordance with Section 17 of the Act, notice of adoption and tentative public hearing date, March 25th, 2026, was posted on the city's website, Facebook page, and screens in both City Hall and Civic Center. There were also a warning alert sent out advertising the public hearing. Where no objections were received 2 days before the tentative public hearing date, staff canceled the public hearing in accordance with Section 20 and subsection 21(1) of the Act. Although there were no objections received during the public hearing phase, issues brought up about 55 Premier Drive rezoning by residents during the consultation phase will be addressed through development. With approval of this rezoning, city staff will ensure that the parcels are consolidated to be one St. Mark's Avenue and property will front St. Mark's Avenue. Proper screening will be put in place if needed, potentially natural treed screening. And drainage concerns will be addressed during engineering review of the site plan to ensure surface water is dealt with on site. While existing lot has no storm collection currently, the proponent will likely require storm collections on the proposed development. The council request is for Section 23 approval of amendment number 25-02. Approval of the proposed amendments is the final affirmative decision of council prior to submitting the documents to the provincial government for ministerial approvals and registration. If council is not supportive of the proposal as is, council should not proceed with approval. It is resolved that the Council of the City of Corner Brook adopt proposed amendment number 25-02 to the City of Corner Brook's Integrated Municipal Sustainability Plan and Development Regulations 2012. Authorize staff to submit proposed amendments to the provincial government for ministerial approval and registration. And authorize staff to give statutory notice of registration of the amendments following ministerial approvals and registration under Section 2. I so move.
Seconder?
Second, Madam Mayor.
Deputy? Questions? Comments? Yes, Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess my question is, there was some concerns about the property on 55 Premier Drive, and I'd like for someone just I guess, update us on what the concerns were and how they're going to be remedied.
Through you, Madam Mayor, there was really 3 concerns brought up there. So I'll address them, I guess, on each concern. So the first one was there was some drainage ditches in that area, things like that. So this was something brought up previously, and the one big change from then to now is under our design regulations, we require properties to have net zero runoff. So what that essentially means is any water that is generated from the property needs to be captured and not ran off the property. So this will actually improve the drainage of the area and actually further resolve the concern that is currently going on there. So it's a positive thing there. The second was just the discussion of the screening, or essentially having a commercial business near a residential neighborhood. So the way that really works is, because of the way it's fronted, there's a farther setback from the rear of the property, which is where the residential area is. So if the building is put as far back as it can, there will already be a natural screen there from vegetation, things like that. If they decide to do something different and put in like a parking lot or something like that, then staff will require them to put a screening there. So it just depends on exactly what they want to do. And the last thing was discussion of traffic and possible damage to driveways on Premier Drive. But again, this will be resolved because of the frontage on St. Mark's Avenue. There will be no access to that property from Premier Drive. So they'll have the access the exact same way it currently is. Essentially, if you look at the building, the initial plans, it's really, a lot simpler than actually what's going to happen, but the building's being moved back to create more area there. Yeah. Mayor, if I may add, I did get a response on the question there on the IMSP. So that was submitted, the first reading occurred and was approved by council and was submitted to the province in January of 2026. So that we should see that back hopefully sometime this year for the second reading.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Councillor Dean.
Madam Mayor, just a point of clarification here. While the existing lot has no storm collection currently, the proponent will likely require storm collection on the proposed development. Why is the term likely there? Because I'm always nervous about water.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the word likely is there for the simple fact is through the engineering process, it's the engineer to determine whether there is runoff to be collected and how that is. But generally in any area of the city where we're on a big hill, you're going to need storm collection. But we can't guarantee that. But again, with our regulations, we require net zero runoff. So if there's runoff there, it has to be dealt with before it's approved to be constructed.
Thank you. Any more comments? No, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. And Councillor Kennedy, you got the last one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Proposed street closure on Todd Street. The City of Corner Brook has received an application to close a portion of Todd Street along the Hugh and Draw Hotel as shown on a attached drawing. The purpose of this street closure is to accommodate a summer event tent and fence area from the period of June 1st, 2026 to September 30th, 2026. This road closure and event tent was in place for the last 3 seasons with few issues, and it has enhanced the West Street experience for both residents and visitors to our city. The event tent and fencing will remain in place through this period and will be removed at the end of the season. If approved, it will be required that the applicant follow the attached safe access drawing, which includes entry points and installation of required safety signage at their cost. It is resolved to approve the application to close a portion of Todd Street for the purpose of accommodating a summer event tent from the period of June 1st, 2026 to September 30th, 2026. I so move.
Seconder? Councillor Pritchard? Comments? Well, I'm just hoping. I'm going to comment before anybody else got a chance to say, I'm hoping this is a sign. Summer is coming. I don't know. It'll be hard to snow clear around that tent. So just hope that the snow will be gone by then. Any comments? Councillor Pritchard?
Yeah, first of all, I've enjoyed that event tent several times the last couple of years, so glad to see this on the agenda. I'm just, Councillor Kennedy's proposal there indicated that there have been a few incidents recorded. I'm just curious what some of those general complaints have been over the years.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think initially when it was put there, some of the signage for safe access and things like that was lacking. I know that's the only one I can come off right off the bat, and so again, this new process this year, we've detailed the exact signage to be there for safe access. I don't have the other complaints. I can get them for you, but yeah.
Just to add to that, Madam Mayor, I believe that some people, when they were trying to navigate to the hotel,
Sure.
Their navigation systems took them to Todd Street and they didn't know how to get back.
Oh, okay.
So there were some minor hiccups.
That makes sense.
We believe we've got
Yeah.
them straight right.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, just to say I absolutely agree with Councillor Steve. The event tent is a beautiful addition to downtown summer Corner Brook, and I think many people enjoy being able to sit outside and have a beverage or a meal and watch the street. And so I'm very happy to see it there. Very happy to see all the little businesses who organize outside opportunities for tourists and locals alike.
Yep. Beautiful. Anything else? Yeah, no, it was a good news story. Like I said, just hope that the snow stops and we can put up our tent. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay, we're gonna have a little go around. I sort of forget where we ended off last time, but I'm gonna start different. I'm gonna go with you, Councillor D.
Ooh,
Caught you, didn't I?
caught me 2 times in a row. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage the citizens of Corner Brook to upload the Voyant Alert app on your cell phones, if you have that. That gives you all kinds of information about the city of Corner Brook and what's happening, and it's a great app to have on your phone. So, Voyant Alert, VOYENT Alert. I actually didn't know about Voyant Alert until I joined City Council. And I'm happy to say that I have it and I use it, and I think it's a great resource for information coming out of City Hall.
Thank you. Councillor Kennedy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I guess I hope everyone had a beautiful Easter week. And I guess I want to just congratulate some of the local sports in our community. Our Saltos Gymnastics Club hosted the Newfoundland Provincial Championships this past weekend. It brought over 300 athletes, coaches, judges, and officials to Corner Brook. It was a huge success for Saltos, and 6 of the gymnasts, 3 male and 3 female, actually qualified to attend Atlantics in PEI on April 23rd. So best of luck to all, and we will be cheering them on. Also, the Corner Brook Minor Hockey had a banner year at provincials over the Easter break. Our U11A and U11C both hosted 8 teams each. U11A hosted and took gold at home with one of our own directors of finance, Robert George, as coach. Congratulations. The UB brought home bronze, UC brought home gold, U13A came back with a gold, U15A took gold, and our U18C hosted and came out on top with gold. So congratulations to all, and great team effort. And I'd like to put out there, if there's any events or any occasions that you would like to share, please reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Pritchard.
2 things, Madam Mayor, if I may. First, we're talking about spring coming closer, and I came back from my Easter vacation, and I was hoping to see a lot of snow melting, and there wasn't. And as a result, our staff have made the wise decision of delaying our spring cleanup week, I believe by 2 weeks. So the new dates, correct me if I have them wrong, are May the 4th until May the 29th. However, residents are asked to book their appointments by April the 27th. And you can do that online at www.cornerbrook.com/2026 bulk collection, I do believe. So again, really important for those who look forward to spring cleaning week, as I do, to make sure they book their times. The other thing, I want to give a little bit of a shout out and congratulations to CC Lachlan. I know before the Easter break, Madam Mayor, you and I had the pleasure of spending a morning there with the grade 6 students. And you know, we all know that our city is becoming more multicultural. And this was a multicultural event that the grade 6 students put on, where they shared games from all over the world. And I think I spent maybe the best 2 hours of my work day in the last couple of months playing games with grade 6 students.
I think you beat me a couple of times.
You beat me a couple times too. I think that was fair. You're a quick learner, quicker than I am. But it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of learning, and again, what a great way to celebrate you know, how diverse really our city is becoming. So big shout out to I'll say to Mr. Andrew Burke and Ms. Hartley for you know, organizing that day as well.
It was unbelievable, and thanks for bringing that up, Councillor Pritchard. It was unbelievable how proud the students were, each one behind their little table with their game onto it, and they just couldn't wait for somebody to come and explain to it. It was beautiful. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Councillor Wheeler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Pritchard stole one of my 2 things that I had to chat about. So again, I would like to reiterate thanks to the city for bumping the spring cleanup or delaying it a little bit. I know in a previous meeting I had expressed concern about the dates this year, the fact that we have so much snow. I too was hoping that more snow would be gone by now, but it doesn't seem to be in the cards. So I commend the city for taking the effort to do that. I think that's really appreciated by folks out there in the community. The other thing I want to bring up is good and bad, potholes. So, I mean, I drive around in a little car here every day. around the city. You know, with the weather we've had, I go around one day and I've got these deep potholes on my way to work, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, do I call the line? What do I do? They're so bad. A day later, I go past and they're filled in. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with the fact that we have been able to manage a lot of the potholes that we have. Different routes that I take, you know, you try and memorize where the potholes are, right? Because you want to get around them. And then, you know, I don't miss one and I'm like, oh my God, it's filled in. So we've been patching. We have been busy, I think, patching potholes. We don't have them all, but I certainly notice it. I've been taking notice of it quite a lot lately when there is no snow on the ground. And I'm actually really impressed how quickly a lot of these potholes are getting filled in. So I know they're pain, but I think they're paying right now for a short period of time. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that, but hats off to the folks who are really helping us take care of these potholes. Even some of the side roads, right? It's not just the main roads. So I think we're doing a great job of that.
Thank you. Councillor Luther?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On the note of potholes, I was in Halifax over Easter. We're not the only ones with potholes. There's some pretty big craters on those massive highways up there. As part of my decluttering and getting ready for spring cleanup, and the city messaged me with a new date for spring cleanup because I already had it booked, so that was pretty cool. I came across this C4 Community Connections Conversation Cafe. It's strictly for new Canadians, and they're under the umbrella. We offer free pickup and delivery of furniture, and Grant is the guy, 660-7154. I got permission to put this information out there. And they came to my house and came to get a dresser, but they went off with bicycle helmets and you name it, whatever, pictures, all this stuff that they were going through a storage room I have downstairs. And I said, you want that? Yes, we'll take that. So they went off with a pickup truck full. So, I mean, they're a wonderful service, and you know that it's going to families that greatly need it. As part of that, too, they offer Conversation Cafe for those needing help with English. These are for new Canadians again. And it's every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 at First Pentecostal Church, 58 Premier Drive. And Susan is the contact for that, 660-6741. So, I mean, this was a wonderful service. I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and they went off happy as clams. The guy that was helping him went off with a guitar, and he got into the world. So I decluttered quite a bit, and it was great knowing you were helping other people.
Excellent. Good information. Thank you, Councillor Luther. Deputy.
I got a comment on the potholes too. I spent a few days in Port of Ass last week, and we're wonderful compared to Port of Ass roads. I will say that.
Coming in the highway.
Yes.
You're not going to have any friends in Port of Ass.
That's where they were gone.
They were bad.
Better get that thank you pretty fast.
But I'd like to congratulate Tammy O'Neill tonight. Tammy's 30 years in business with Bloodworks as of last week. Tammy had an idea 30 years ago to do blood collection in her community, to go to door to help community needs, caring for people one visit at a time. And she is 30 years and still in practice, and she's very grateful for every patient, every referral, and every bit of support she got along her way. So, and she'd like to thank everyone along her journey, so congratulations, Tammy, on your 30 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, I had a little trip out of town during Easter, and like Councillor Pritchard, I came back, but I sort of knew the snow wasn't going to be gone because I was getting lots of texts during my vacation in the Okanagan, where it was 20 degrees to 22 and sunny every day, with no potholes, by the way, I will add, very few potholes. But it looks like it was a busy Easter in Corner Brook with hockey and skiing and cross country and downhill. That's great for the city of Corner Brook. Good for restaurants. I heard all the hotels were filled. But it also, these things do not happen without all our volunteers and coaches. And I want to say hats off once again to Director George. It takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment to anybody who was coaching a team. So thank you for all you put into it, because without you all, we wouldn't have teams, and we wouldn't have our restaurants filled, and we wouldn't have our hotels filled. So thank you, hats off to you and all the group. And thanks to the deputy and Councillor Wheeler for bringing greetings to the 2 hockey tournaments that were on the go. So we like to be involved as a city, and it certainly makes us all look good, especially when you hear the comments, my gosh, this is nice, or Corner Brook is certainly a great place to host. I mean, it makes us all feel really proud, and I think Director George said he heard that more than once during the Easter break. So thank you for bringing those great comments back to us. So, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.